You know a game is fucking amazing when you have the soundtrack? That's how you know a game is quality. You've got the soundtrack. There's very few games where I have the soundtrack. This is one of those games. I was just thinking during the break how I could pull off an analysis vid, because it's been something I've been thinking about for a while. We were thinking about doing it possibly for Danganronpa characters, because I watched a few analysis vids and I realized that a lot of them actually missed the reference material for a lot of the Danganronpa characters. I know because, you know, I'm a little bit of a geek, and I don't know whether or not I should be saying this, but I'm very familiar with some US serial killers, in terms of I'm very familiar with, you know, what they've been up to. And one of the Danganronpa characters is actually based off a serial killer. And I watched a few analysis videos and I realized very quickly that the analysis video I watched didn't know that the entire character was actually based on a very specific serial killer. And when I say based, I mean same occupation, same appearance, same method of operation, you know, of killing her victims. And then I realized a couple of cutscenes in the game itself were a direct reference to how she killed her victims. You guys may know the one I'm talking about. This particular serial killer used to get into the hospital bed of the people she would kill and overdose them with muscle relaxants so their heart would fail, and she would basically cuddle up next to them and basically just listen to their heartbeat as it fades. You know the character I'm talking about. And I was actually shocked that character analysis videos didn't realize that this character was directly, don't spoil it for people, but didn't realize that she was directly based on an actual serial killer that's currently, you know, detained in the US. And I was like, hang on, you did a character analysis and you didn't realize this? But I don't know, how many people here actually research serial killers? Not many, if any. But look, I'm a geek. I'm a geek. I'm a very curious person. I mean, yeah, I'm just trying to figure out if we do end up doing character analysis, because it takes time. It takes time, obviously. So I don't want to, you know, go out and promise, hey guys, I'm going to do this video, and you know, 6 months later, no videos out, because I've started uploading daily, and I still work a 9 to 5, and my job's only getting more busy now. I got put on a bunch of projects where I've got NDAs done, and I'm doing business cases, so I'm basically identifying innovations that we can do with certain strategic clients, and the clients are basically big tier banks. So I'm definitely earning my paycheck now. But because I definitely have ideas. I would need to get the ideas on paper, and then I'd need to develop them coherently into pretty much a sequence of how to explain it, which pretty much would form the script, which then I would need to film and then support it with scenes from the game. So, well, like in my company, what I literally did when our new managing director joined, he's an ex-PwC consulting sort of like high up. I basically, like, he was doing this meeting with people in the company, and he was doing like a Q&A session, like on one of the public floors. And he's like, oh, well, you know, if anyone has any questions, ask me. And I literally ran up after him before he got into the elevator. And I'm like, oh, hey, you know, Chris, his name's Chris. And I was like, he's like, I'm one of the, you know, graduates from 2019, you know, how would you like to sort of meet the 2019 graduates and develop a dialogue between yourself, the current leadership of the company, as well as the future leaders of the company? And he just basically looked at me like, okay. He's like, what's your name? I give him my name. And he gets back to his computer. He sends me an email. His EA, executive assistant, was CC'd. And he's basically like, help him set up a meeting. You know, give him everything he needs. And his EA is like, oh, I help you. I'm like, oh, I just need 2 things. 1, I need a time slot. And 2, what does he like to drink? You know, like, what's his coffee of choice? And she's like, haha. He's like, he doesn't drink coffee. He drinks English breakfast tea with milk on the side. I'm like, oh, that's great. By the way, what do you drink? And she was like, a flat white, 1 sugar. I'm like, sweet. That's a little trick. Always remember what your bosses drink. Because if you ever go to coffee with your boss and you know their order, it's a great sales tactic. They love it. It shows that you're paying attention and that you know them. It builds trust and rapport. Anyway, long story short, I get this meeting organized. I basically go to, pick him up before the meeting. So our meeting's basically at 10 o'clock. I go there at basically 9:45, just in case I can escort him. We end up going. On the way to the meeting, he's like, oh, okay, cool. I don't know the way around the campus because we've got a massive campus, one of the best in Australia. Our company has a lot of this. And he's basically asking me questions about the graduate cohort, how many people study business degrees, how many of them science, how many this, he's basically like roasting me here, asking for information. And then he basically like, what do you use, Samsung or iPhone? What's your reason why? Anyway, we get to the meeting. I had the executive boardroom booked out. I had the tea ready to go. That was an order from the local cafe and everything. It arrives. Stupidly, I end up picking the teapot with my hand, which was metal. And it started burning my fingers, but I didn't twitch. And so I basically put it down, and I basically almost burnt my fingertips, but that doesn't really matter. Anyway, so he was there. His EA was late. He's got this thing where if you're a minute late to his meeting, you got to put $50 in. Like, he's that type of person. And a bunch of graduates were fucking late. One of which was 5 minutes late, and he literally had like this cafe bag sandwich in his hand and a takeaway coffee. And one of the girls in the meeting basically fainted from pressure. And I'm here sitting next to the guy. And his first series of questions were the very same questions that he asked me on the way there. What's everyone's name? What do you study? Luckily for me, the answer that I gave kind of checked out with the information that the other graduates gave me. It was a dumb guess, but I got lucky on that one. After he asked that question, he just looked at me like this. Anyway, we had a 30-minute time slot. It ended up going for 50 minutes, and then he had to go because he had, another meeting with executives. We took like a photo. We have it on LinkedIn. It's such a power shot. He's in the middle. I'm on the far left corner in a full suit and everything. Anyways, on the way out of the boardroom, this is in the boardroom, by the way, I'm like, oh, hey, do you need me to sort of help you get to the next meeting? Because like you mentioned, you might not be familiar with the campus. He literally giggles, looks at me, and he says, I know this campus back to front. I was just fucking with you. And he winks at me and walks away. And I was like, you're shitting me. This is our managing director, by the way, who just joined the company. That was his 2nd week in the company. I'm a fucking graduate. I'm at the bottom of the pecking order. He's at the fucking top of the pecking order. And I'm just like... Like... After that, he's never forgotten who I am. Every time I'm in the same room, he always gets me to do it. Last time he had a meeting with pretty much the entire business division, which was 2,000 people. He basically just looked at me and he's like, I need to go at like 3:45. And I was just like, shit, how do I interrupt him in the middle of a meeting to tell him it's time to go? Like that sort of shit. Anyway, so I basically, I did 1 rotation in the business division of our business. And then in our 2nd rotation, I actually ended up going out of my business division into another subsidiary company under the same mother branch. I got approved, which is very uncommon, but I got approved. What we basically did in that company was geolocational data. So what they do is they take the GPS positioning data, not even GPS signal, just your telephone data, and they plot it in real time on a map. So you could literally pinpoint people's location to a 3-meter radius when they don't have their GPS on. So when I talk about tracking, I know what I'm talking about. And trust me, this stuff is easily available. And it's worth a lot of money. And governments fucking pay for it. And you bet your ass Google and Facebook sell it too. So now on my third and final rotation, I got a spot in one of the new growth areas in the business. Basically, the guy, the managing director, hired a new director from the US to start up a new division called Services and Platforms. And basically what this new division does is they go and they talk to existing strategic customers, strategics basically being accounts worth 7 figures or more every year in terms of revenue. And we see if there's any opportunities where we can innovate the business, increase margin, upsell, and all that shit. So basically, I'm in the division, the business, that goes and talks to customers paying millions of dollars to us to find out if we can sell them something better, improve what we're currently offering and stuff. So the people I'm interacting with are all director level and above. I'm like bottom of the pecking order. So basically, I've got NDAs now for every single customer, so I can't tell you exactly what we're working on. But my job is literally talking to their account managers from our company, trying to figure out what we sold them and why, and to figure out how we can improve it. And one thing I had one meeting on Thursday with 4 directors, including my manager who I report with to directly, one of the account managers and 2 other directors. And I found out that we don't understand the customer needs at all. As in, the sales guy was basically so focused on getting the contract, he wasn't asking questions. He was just selling at the lowest price point to give the most shit just to get the customer. Fair enough. But we don't know jack shit about what one of our strategic customers paying millions of dollars a year needs. So what I have to do is basically get ready by getting all the information I can internally about the customer, looking at it, trying to figure out their patterns, what they're using, what they're possibly using, what they're using it for, get prepped, go to a meeting and basically ask the customer, hey, so what do you use your shit for? How's working from home working for you? What do you like about working from home? What do you hate from working from home? Trying to come up with problems that we can hopefully solve in exchange for, cash. So obviously we might currently be selling them, say, I don't know, $300,000 worth of internet and telephones a year because we've got entire buildings covered. But we might not be selling them, say, VPN services or closed private networks. So say, I don't know, you're working from home, right? You might be logging into your laptop through a VPN in the company. But what if you leave your home Wi-Fi? Are you going to have to re-authenticate when you go across the street? If you do, that's a pain in the butt because the authentication process requires you to open up an authenticator on your phone, which requires you to open your phone, which requires you to log onto the laptop. And every time you change a signal, you're going to have to redo that. That's a pain in the ass. Plus, every time you do that to your VPN signal, you got to do it to your MS Teams, you got to do it to your Outlook, you got to do it to everything. It's a pain in the butt. Now, imagine you're an executive and you're doing that all the time because you're traveling internationally. That's a pain in the ass, right? Do you really want to spend 5 minutes at a time logging in? So I got to basically figure out how to put it all in one thing by coming up with a solution or an ecosystem that lets you remain logged in even though you're moving across different internet access points. So how do we do that without compromising security? Because don't forget, some of our customers are banks. Because if we fuck up, we're fucked. And we've also got governments and other things. And so I'm just sort of sitting there at the bottom of the pecking order going, fuck. And I basically got this job. Well, I got my previous rotation by talking about the reason why I use an Android and why I have a VPN and why when I'm going overseas, I basically take out my SIM and I separate it from the battery. I ended up going into the division of the business that does geo-analytical location. And then from that connection, I ended up getting pulled into this new team. So I'm working on shit way outside my pay grade. And I roll off in about 6 months. And one of the people I'm gonna have to present this shit to is gonna be the managing director, because I have to convince him to basically sign off on proposals that we're giving to our major customers. Because if it fucks up, we're fucked. It's really fun in a sense because I like working things out, but it's also challenging in times where the past 2 weeks, I've just been sitting in on meetings and learning about customers, And then on Thursday, I basically met with one account manager, and it's like, all right, let's set up a meeting for next week, this coming week. And it's like, you'll probably need a 2-page business case on what we could possibly propose. And I'm like, yay, do a business case over the weekend. Really earning my paycheck there. Don't fuck up. It's a $3 million a year account. High risk, high reward, am I right? So back to the analysis. I would really like to do the analysis. I just have to figure out a system. Once I figure out a system for doing an analysis, it becomes a very simple system. Because currently I've figured out how to... Remember before we weren't uploading videos daily? And we were only live streaming, 2-3 times a week. So I figured out very quickly, if we have concise streaming sessions, we can edit the beginning, we can edit the end, we can take out the breaks. We've got 2 videos per stream. Bam, we can upload 7 times a week. The system works, and I'm able to upload 7 times a week without an issue. Doing an analysis video is a completely different ball game because it takes actual dedication, time, and brain power to figure out things, then convert it into a rough draft, then convert it into a script, then convert it into a video with stuff from the playthrough, which hopefully I've put enough notes during editing that I'm able to find the free time events very quickly and basically plot it in. So you've basically got about 20, 30, maybe 40 hours of work per analysis video, and you've got to stick that in between your normal 9-to-5 job, which is 40, 50 hours a week, plus your normal streaming schedule, plus your normal editing schedule. So I want to do the analysis videos, but I can't commit to when I will have such a video. Minor question, Kuma. Will this be the only meme stream? Good point. We should get back to memes because I just spent 20 minutes talking about how we should do an analysis video. Let's see how we do. Let's see how we do, because I don't want to rush a video. I notice a lot of people rushing videos, and it doesn't do the characters, nor the game, nor the analysis justice. You want to do it right. Especially when you're talking about a complex character. You don't want to fuck it up. Minor question, Kuma. Will this be the only meme stream until the next game? We'll see. We'll see. We'll see. All right. We are doing the Valentine's Day. This should be good.
I'm running on empty, man. Behold, a saucy, zesty masterpiece. Ain't nothing better than this. Get out, dumbass! Here you go, my treat! Yes, so good.